Hey guys. Okay, so we are picking up on reading strategies. We've gone over a couple different things. We went through soapstone, we went through tone, we went through how to annotate, what annotating is, we went through close reading. We looked over appeals in the last video. So again, appeals is going to continue to come up to make sure that you understand ethos, pathos, logos. Okay, so another thing you need to know for this test is the differences between a summary, a paraphrase, and a direct quote. So remember, a summary is when you basically take a chapter and you give like a broad overview of events. Summary is not a million lines long. It's, or sentences long. It's probably a few sentences, really general. If I was summarizing Great Gatsby chapter 3, I would say that Nick receives an invitation. He goes to one of Gatsby's parties. It's super lavish. There are people everywhere. He hears all these rumors about Gatsby. He goes inside with Jordan Baker and they discover the library. And then finally, Gatsby reveals himself to him at the party. And they have a conversation, and then Gatsby pulls Jordan aside to talk to her. Okay, that would be a summary. Okay, so I'm just hitting the high points. A paraphrase is going to be where you might be pulling something out, like evidence out of the text, but you're putting it into your own words, okay? And then a direct quote, obviously, is where you're just pulling it directly out of the text. The only one that uses quotation marks is the direct quote. You really, in like an analysis writing, you're not going to use summary unless you're like giving context as you do like a dialogue tag as you're introducing your evidence. So you might say, when Gatsby takes Nick to New York, comma, he states the following, comma, quotation mark, and then you give your whatever your quote is to support your point. Okay, so you might give a little bit of context, but it's going to be a very brief summary. Again, paraphrase is going to happen. You're going to put it in your own words, and then direct quote is going to happen a lot, putting evidence in a text. But you need to know the difference between the three. Okay, finally, this is the last slide. This is what you need to know for objective 2. It's understanding how that soapstone operate together. How do they impact one another? When you were younger, you should have looked at like how story elements interact with one another. How does the setting and the plot interact? How do they impact one another? So if the setting was somewhere else, how would that impact the story? So now you're looking at soapstone. I'm sorry, I forgot to put purpose. So it should be subject. I messed this up. It should be subject, occasion, audience, purpose, speaker, tone. So it's correct on that first slide. Subject, occasion, audience, purpose, speaker, tone. So you want to go back and I might say, how does the speaker impact the occasion in the text? And it'll give you an excerpt and you would have to read. So if we were looking, again, we're all reading Great Gatsby. If I said, how does the speaker affect the occasion? Okay, well, let's say we're looking at chapter 5. We watched that in class the other day. We watched that scene. So the speaker is Nick Carraway, and then how does that impact the occasion? Well, if you were in class, we discussed how like Nick is the keeper of all these secrets. Okay, so the occasion that's being described in the text is like dependent on how the speaker sees it or how Nick sees it. So it's like filtered through the speaker, and so the occasion, some things may be left out. So it's just reading that, really digging deep, going through that analysis and figuring out how they impact one another. So those are all the types of questions that you will see. This is a firm foundation for you to build off of. There are 2 objectives in the Power Focus area. So I want you to, go back and look over a couple of resources from that. Hopefully, you're at the end of this video, so you're watching this. And then we have extra assessment time on Thursday, and then we have class on Friday, which will be mostly assessment time. You got to knock out your reading checks and hopefully knock out reading strategies. Okay, as always, any questions, shoot me an email. And I hope this was helpful in preparing for reading strategies. You got this. I believe in you. You can pass this focus area. All right.